Hello, welcome back to the Villaview. It's time for a post-match pint in association with Purity Ale. If you want to get 10% off everything that Purity have to offer, use the code Villaview or hashtag Villaview. Both of those things work, and I can't remember I've remembered it without seeing it on the screen live. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, joined by Thibaut, who isn't going to be very helpful at all, and Max from Villa on tour, both at the game yesterday. Yes. Max, Aston Villa 2, Brighton 1. We've qualified for Europe for the first time in over a decade. I still can't really believe it. I don't think it's hit me yet. I think it's hit you more than it's hit me, hasn't it?
Well, I don't know. I'm still in disbelief. I've talked about it before. It's just purely I've never seen anything like it. Started supporting Villa in the Alex McLeish days for my sins. And
great times.
Yeah, well, horrendous. It's only gone downhill from there, really. So I've never seen anything like it. So it's uncharted territory for me, and I'm sure a lot of Villa fans as well.
Yeah, I mean, many people that probably watch the Villaview, they've seen us win the European Cup. But even yesterday, people who've seen that were visibly emotional in the stands. I know people who were crying tears of joy, just so emotional. But I guess this season's been such a roller coaster. It does feel like 3 or 4 seasons rolled into one. If you'd have told me maybe in September, October that going into the last day of the season, if Villa got 3 points, it would guarantee something. Yeah. I'd have thought, well, safety for us to have qualified for the Conference League. Yeah. It's just such a massive achievement for the club, and I think the good thing is that we as a club will embrace it, and we as a fan base will embrace it. I know Spurs fans who just desperately didn't want to be in the Conference League, whereas for us, it does mean the world.
Yeah. You were speaking to I was speaking to a West Ham fan. Simon was speaking to a West Ham fan. I know a couple of West Ham fans, and they were saying like this season is incredible for them. Like this is the best they've ever seen, and people do sort of poo-poo the Conference League, and it's like for a club like Villa, it's a great stepping stone. Yeah, eventually we want to be higher and do better things, but as a sort of start off to return to European football, I think it's massive. And you see West Ham are in the final this year. You know, what happens next season could potentially win it, and then from there you go into the Europa League, and I don't know, man, it's a good start, isn't it? It's a good sort of ladder, isn't it? Start the Europa League.
I think you're right with that.
And then you can go and win the Europa League, and etc. etc. So, like we talked about before, we've got the perfect manager for it. So I think we're all set up for it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the game, and we'll come back to actually qualifying for Europe. You kind of go to Villa Park nowadays, you're a little bit nervy because of what's on the line. Yeah. But something that's got lost yesterday is that we've 7 games in a row at home. That must be some sort of club record. I don't know if it is or not, but to have won 7 games in a row at home at the back end of the season to guarantee ourselves Europe. There's been times in the recent past where we've struggled with the pressure of playing at home, but Unai Emery seems to have done something. But the players don't feel this pressure. They go into every game with a plan, and you could see that there was again a visible plan against Brighton yesterday. A really, really fast start. I think it was helpful that Brighton left some of their better players out, but still, then there's still a good footballing side. They're like us. If players come out, whoever comes in knows what they're supposed to be doing, and there's a plan. And it was 2 good teams coming up against each other. A hot day at Villa Park. I thought it was a really, really interesting and entertaining game, but we just start the game fast. We play on the front foot. We want to control the game, and it's hard to control the game against Brighton. I think they probably had more possession than us in the end, but you could just see that intent from the first whistle, can't you?
Yeah, the form at Villa Park, firstly, has been incredible. I think at times this season our away record has been incredible, and losing a couple of away games at Wolves and Man United, it's not entirely flipped, but to get that sort of home fortress at Villa Park, it's incredible, and it's sort of been the base of what's propelled us forward.
That's been the bedrock, hasn't it? I think the home form, really.
7 in a row. It's incredible.
We didn't get that right straight away either under Emery. It was the away form.
That Leicester home game, that Arsenal home game, Liverpool at home on Boxing Day, a couple of stutters. But now it sort of feels like we've got that nailed, and it feels we've got that because we're all sort of pulling in the same direction. Everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet, and no, it's fantastic. You talk about the quick starts. Like, it must be a ridiculous record we've got inside the first 10, 15 minutes, especially at Villa Park this season. It's incredible, and I said it going into the game, if we can get that first goal, it's going to be monumental, because then the fans will just take it to another level. The players will be up for it. Brighton, I get, they weren't exactly playing for everything, but they're still, like you said, an incredibly fluid and good side to watch, and they play some good stuff with some good players. So it's good to get that early goal. Really important.
Well, we had a moment just before the goal where Leon Bailey hit the bar with the ball being pulled back to him, and then he hits the bar, and then we score off that pullback. And I was saying to you before we came on, that goal, that first goal that we scored yesterday, it's just a typical Unai Emery goal. We've scored that goal from a pullback, especially at Villa Park, so many times. Even actually Louise away at Brentford, that came from a pullback as well. it's kind of like a vintage Villa Emery goal, isn't it? Because we've just scored that goal. It's been different players in the main.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's been different players. Ramsey, Luiz, Coutinho against Arsenal. It's the same copy and paste move with different players. We're so good at it.
What's it to be down the left-hand side that we do it as well?
Yeah, that's true. I know Watkins scored one from the other side against Newcastle, but you're right. Moreno, all that overside, Buendia stepping over the ball for Coutinho against Arsenal. It's always on that side.
Even the own goal we scored against Palace when we won that game. I mean, that was from the other side. But again, that's come from a
cutback.
Cutback. Yeah. We've scored a lot of goals off cutbacks, and that does seem to be a real facet of Unai Emery's sides now.
Yeah. It's a patterns of play, isn't it? That's exactly what we were saying under Gerrard. We don't have these sort of designated patterns of play, whereas that's sort of the epitome of showing that we do under Emery, and it's great to see. And it was so crucial to get off to that quick start yesterday. Set us up to get the win, didn't it?
Yeah, and Ramsey was really good in that first half, wasn't he? Two assists. I think I've worked out that he's got 12 goal contributions for the season. I mean, I could do a stato here now because I've probably got this wrong. I think 11 of his goal contributions have come under Emery, which is just staggering. And in recent weeks, towards the back end of the season, he's actually been really pivotal, hasn't he? It was a really good goal, that second goal. It kind of got lost at the game because you felt like it was going to get something had happened. It was a bit weird at the game. Yeah. It felt like it was going to get called back for something.
I thought exactly that. I was sort of thinking that's too easy. Like, what's happened? Was it McGinn that made the tackle originally? Yeah. It's a fantastic tackle, but we'll talk about the referee later. But with him sort of doing what he wants to do and blow for whatever, you're probably expecting a foul. I was thinking, is he offside? This is far too easy. Where's Watkins come from? But Ramsey's pace for that goal is incredible. Is it Webster that just can't get back? Talk about the Bailey pass as well, by the way. That's fantastic. It was just a really, really nice, slick, in the end, simple goal. Yeah,
he squares it across to Watkins. I thought it was quite fitting yesterday that it was Luiz and Watkins that scored our goals.
Yes.
Luiz, player of the year. Again, he's got double figures for goal contributions this season, which he's been nowhere near doing that in any other season at the club, which tells you what Unai Emery's done. And then the second goal, for it to be Watkins, he was on a bit of a mini drought. He's not being called up for England. Yeah. I just thought it was fitting that he scored the winner for us, because without his goals, we're not doing what we've done.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a difficult sort of 4, 5, 6 games prior to Sunday, hadn't he? And I think it's sort of down to the fact that other teams are thinking, like, Christ, we need to sort of look after Ollie Watkins, because he's scored 9 and 11 and he was flying, and teams sort of thought, starting with that Brentford away game, I remember he didn't do anything in that game, and that's not down to him really. It's other teams sort of sticking on him and thinking, like, he's a massive danger, we need to be careful of him. But it's nice to see him get that goal on the last game of the season, and it's at 15 Premier League goals now.
Yeah, it's a great record.
It's remarkable. Mate, remarkable. You see people at the start of this season say, oh, Watkins out, we need to get a 20 goal a season striker, but to get 15 in a side that had other teams had a head start on, we only sort of got going sort of 11, 12 games into the season with a new manager, it's just incredible. 15 goals, can't argue with that, can you?
Got 2 less Premier League goals than Rashford.
And
everyone says what I say. I know Rashford's kind of playing from the left a lot of the time, in fairness to him, but he's been in scintillating form. Watkins is playing in a team, with all due respect to us, that Manchester United have been in and around the top 4 for most of the season, give or take the first 4 or 5 games maybe. He's been playing in a fluid side. Watkins probably had 2 goals I think before Emery came in. He had one away at Palace and he scored one against Brentford at home. So he'd scored like 2 in 14.
Yeah, it was really slow
before Emery came in. Yeah. 13 Premier League goals under Unai Emery.
It's mad. I love it because I really like Ollie Watkins. I've always been a fan. We talk about his work rate and everything like that. He does so much more than score goals, but I think he sort of dialed back a little bit on that. I think he came out and said sort of Emery had told him to sort of stay between the posts and just stay there, don't move, it will come for you, which is really nice, and it seems to have worked because his hold-up play is good and he does all the dirty work, but other players are sort of doing that for him a little bit now, and he's sort of hanging around the box a little bit more and he's getting the job done and he's scoring goals. Great to see.
Yeah, and we've just done a longer podcast covering a bit more for your channel, but we're saying that, like, Ramsey 2 assists. You look at some of the players that were, been at Villa years and not got anywhere near the numbers that they're getting under Unai Emery. We couldn't make that midfield function. But it's the same. We've got Kamara in there, yes. But Emery's kind of found a way to get... If you'd have said to me at the start of the season, McGinn and Ramsey are going to play most of their football wide, I'd have been like, what?
What's going on?
What's happening here? Yeah. What has happened? But Gerrard just couldn't get a tune out of that midfield at all whatsoever. We've got Ramsey playing on the left, McGinn playing on the right, and then Luiz and Kamara, which has got to be the classiest midfield we've had since probably the days of Sid Cowans, and I didn't even ever see him play. Yeah. Such a classic combination, Luiz and Kamara. But McGinn and Ramsey as well on the flanks, just playing some of the best football they've played.
On paper as well. Like, if you go back...
It shouldn't work.
Exactly. If you go back 12, 18 months, whatever, McGinn out wide, you'd be thinking, ooh, that's a bit weird. Is that like a panic thing? Or we got injuries? But tell you what, mate, it works. It's so good, so fluid. It's brilliant.
I mean, actually, he was playing up top.
He plays everywhere.
In the first half, he was playing up top, wasn't he?
Louise this season, he can play anywhere.
He's been really good, McGinn. He's been a crucial part of the side's upturn in the second half of the season. He's just allowed to do the things that he's good at now, whereas under Gerrard, he just wasn't doing any of the things that he was good at.
He was shackled under Gerrard.
Killed with the captaincy.
Playing right back, wasn't he, when weird little system that Gerrard played where the midfielders would go to full back? Bizarre.
Become a real leader as well, like a proper captain now.
Yeah, but there was a little bit of doubt, wasn't there?
I had doubt at the first half of the season. I didn't see him as a captain.
Yeah, I agree, but he epitomises as a captain now. It's everywhere. You know, his leadership skills, you can see it. It's brilliant. He fully deserves the captaincy for me.
Yeah, he's the captain now. You can see him barking out the instructions on the pitch as well. He's every inch the captain. I couldn't be more pleased for him because there was doubts about him in the first half of the season. A lot there was about many of our players. People were kind of saying, to get better, we've got to move on from these players. Some of these players started our first Premier League game back. But I said this on your thing. Our best players probably in the second half of the season have been Watkins, McGinn, Mings.
Yeah.
You know, McGinn and Mings have been here through, we nearly went down. They've seen the whole trajectory of the club since we've returned to the Premier League, and for them to be such key parts in this side, it's really good to see, because you do lose a little bit of your soul. You know, Jed Steele leaving, Connor's left, Jack's left, countless other players who were part wheeling.
Even like the sort of fringe players, El Ghazi and players like
players
that
are a big part of us going up have all kind of filtered away over the 5 years. But it's great that McGinn and Mings are still here, and they're not only still here,
thriving.
They're not filtered out as squad players now. Probably two of the first names on the team.
It's quite rare, I'd say, in modern day football. I think it's quite rare for players to come up with you in the Championship and level up time and time again, season after season, and take you from the Championship to Europe. Massive credit. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton, in fairness, I think they did play well yesterday. The officials were having an absolute stink with disallowing goals that shouldn't have been disallowed, and letting goals go, and then they got disallowed because of VAR. It's a bit sloppy from us to concede the goal from a set piece. It's kind of the quick kind of free kick routine that we've been doing recently.
Similar to the one at Liverpool last week,
we got done by it though, didn't we?
Yeah.
We took it very well, Undav. Took it really, really well, but it kind of changed the atmosphere of the game a little bit. It became a little bit more nervy. The atmosphere was still good, but it became a little bit more nervy at Villa Park, because at 2-0 I felt relatively comfortable. I was like, we get the next goal, this is done. But Brighton scoring changed the dynamic of the game, didn't it? And they, in the first half, I thought they were pretty good. They caused us a few problems.
Yeah, there's a few nice moves, didn't they? We talked about the high line and stuff, and they do move the ball quite well, popping it over the top. I know Evan Ferguson had a very good first half, didn't he? I'm a big fan of him. He's a big lad, obviously very technically gifted as well.
Missed a couple of chances he hasn't been missing.
Yeah, I mean, Martinez made a great save, and he sort of one-on-one from Ferguson. That was really impressive. But yeah, they moved the ball brilliantly, Brighton, and I thought I always kind of felt okay during the game. I think going 2 goals up was amazing, and that's exactly what you want. But yeah, they get that goal back, and it's a little bit nervy. But Brighton, they were never really up for it. Their fans celebrated the goal like it was a sort of pre-season game. Like, they weren't overly bothered. So it might have been a different game had it meant something for them. But I think we were okay. I think we defended well. I said on my podcast that I don't think Martinez had too many saves to make.
Not in the second half.
Nah, I think we were okay. I think you clearly were a little bit more nervous than I was.
What I didn't like was, actually, at the start of the game, they'd left out 4 key players, players who've been really good for them all season. And it was the fact that they had that refresh to bring on that I didn't like. And I was sitting there thinking, we've got nothing we can do
it's a
here,
different
really,
level, isn't it?
to change it. They're bringing on Caicedo, Estupinian. Who else did they bring on? Mitoma, who I think is electric.
Yeah, he's amazing.
They're bringing on really people who've been performing at a high level all season, and we were like looking at we only made 1 sub. All we could have done is brought Ashley Young on ready to firm it up.
Yeah.
Traore probably would have come on had they levelled, and I was just worried that if they did level, it was going to be difficult for us to get back ahead, and we needed to win, because the dynamic of the day
didn't go in our favour.
Man City put out a second string. It's still a very good team, but it's a second string. People like Sergio Gomez playing who haven't played.
I've never heard of him, to be totally honest. Cole Palmer playing as well.
Yeah, Brentford are good at home as well. They would have felt that they had a sniff of Europe. Leeds, pathetic. Got to win to stay up and get absolutely trounced by probably the worst Spurs side there's been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Get beat 4-1. When Spurs were 1-0 up after 2 minutes, you kind of think, ooh, okay. And then they go 2-0 up.
Yeah.
And Leeds get one back, and you think, okay, maybe the Leeds can pull something back.
I wasn't too bothered by other results, because I knew that it was all on Villa anyway.
You've got to take care of your own business.
Going into the game, we knew it was on Villa anyway, so I kind of expected Tottenham to do it because of how horrible Leeds are. Brentford were the ones as well, and you're seeing them sort of both winning, it's like, okay, it's all on Villa, but we kind of knew that anyway. But yeah, when it's 2-1 and in the second half they're pushing a little bit, it was a little bit nervy, wasn't it?
Because we're suddenly then, if we let in a goal, we're going from 7th to 9th, and that would have been tough to take. I think I would have found that difficult to deal with.
Yeah, that would have been rough, especially because we know we were on the cusp, and especially being 2-0 up as well. If we'd have thrown that, God forbid we didn't, but it would have been tough to take.
We did have chances. We always looked down on the break. We picked up a couple of free kicks in decent positions, which we didn't.
We were terrible with them, by the way.
Yeah, we didn't make the most of them, did we at all? The one was the one across the goal for Ramsey, the open goal.
It's quite interesting. Jason Steele goal. We saw with Louise when he scored against Tottenham. Fraser Forster was very far over. Jason Steele yesterday set up the wall in a way where he was in the middle of the goal, which made it obviously harder to score. And Buendia took a free kick.
I haven't seen Buendia take a free kick all season.
Really, he tried to knuckleball it. It was horrible.
On the last day, he walks up to it like it's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, when Louise and Luca Dina stood there as well. I don't think that'll be happening again.
Luca Dina's free kick was quite close. He had one that went just wide.
That was close.
Just a similar position to his Manchester United free kick that he scored. But the big chance to kind of kill the game was the one across the goal. You think it's a bad miss. I agree with you. It's not great. But I think Bailey did put too much on the ball across. It's like a bobbling ball with pace. I think that's difficult to take first time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if in an ideal world, Bailey probably takes a little bit off it, but he's got to score. I don't think he's like fully stretching for it. Is he really? It's probably a little bit in front of him. Like you said, a little bit too much pace on it. But, he should score.
He's good with both feet as well, Ramsey.
Exactly.
So even on his left foot,
I think, did he go off injured just before that? Because I know he went off, didn't he, for a bit? I think he might have just come on. So
I don't remember that, in all honesty.
You don't remember him going down?
No.
I think I made that up. No, he definitely went down for a bit.
Whatsoever.
Because I thought he was going to go off as a sub, and he went off for a little bit. But yeah, maybe it was needed a little bit of a freshen up.
I mean, we're all over the place with how we're dissecting the game here. But let's say something about Luca Dean. I thought he was good yesterday. And Greg Evans has said on 1874 that it's a bit harsh to judge Luca Dean until he's played in this good Villa team. And he played in the good Villa team at home yesterday, where we've been absolutely excellent. I thought he looked a lot better than I remember him being throughout the season. Yeah,
I think it's one of them with Luca Dean where you've got a shiny new toy in Alex Moreno and you sort of automatically think, that's the old one, he must be crap. And I think people forget that he's never really been terrible for us, has he, Luca Dean? I just think you've got... I think it's because they're so massively different players as well. Moreno's fast, he can beat a man. Luca Dean's a bit more slow, reserved, can put in a decent ball, but he's never going to pace, burn his man.
He was quicker than I remembered him being yesterday, Luca Dean, actually.
He's got that element of freshness, hasn't he? He hasn't played a lot of football. Played last week and he was good against Liverpool. He was good yesterday, so he'll obviously start the season with Moreno's injury. So no, big fan. I'm not worried about the left back area.
No. I mean, I wasn't particularly worried about it when Moreno came in, but he's been an absolute revelation. Man, I just think he deserves a bit of special prize coming into that team yesterday. Luca Dean, because I thought he was good. And Boubacar Kamara as well. It's nice to see him back in the midfield because he's such a good player.
He mops up a lot, didn't he, yesterday, sort of pinging it around. He just does the simple stuff, doesn't he? Get it, move it on, well. Easy, yeah.
He keeps the ball, he's good in tight spaces, he's good in the tackle, he's strong, he's physical, he can pass, he can ping the lovely ball out in the second half. He'll be really good for us next season.
I just hope he's fit, mate. I just hope he's fit for the whole season.
But to me, he's the complete number 6.
Yeah.
I think
we were missing a player like that for so many years. We got Nakamburin when we got promoted. We were hoping he was going to be that. Obviously not to a level. Obviously you're signing a player from Belgium for just about 10 million. So, but yeah, Kamara's just a joy to watch. So good.
Yeah. Another thing I thought was quite fitting actually was at the end of the game when McGinn's keeping the ball in the corner for us, and our season ends with McGinn keeping the ball in the corner. Because that's where he was doing that in the Championship, wasn't he? I remember that 10-game run.
Yeah, was it Blackburn where he ran completely across the length of the pitch?
Memories of that a little bit. It's kind of nice that
4 years on, he's still doing it.
And that was the last touch before we got into Europe. And great scenes, really, really, really emotional in the whole end in particular. After the game, you can see how much it means to the players and the staff and everyone at the club as well. And again, I said it on your pod, which please go and watch that on Villa on Tour because we go into more detail about things. But it's such a nice feeling when everyone feels at one and everything feels aligned, because it won't always be like that.
Yeah.
But it's like it at the moment, and the reason it's like that, really, you have to put it all down to the manager.
Yeah, enjoy it while it's here, because I think before the game people were talking about we don't want Europe because we want to reset, go again next year and things like this. We can't take things for granted. You never know what's going to happen next season. You never know what certain teams are going to do. Chelsea have just got Pochettino, and Spurs you'd expect to be better. So you just got to just enjoy it. And the fact we've got there is incredible. And you're right, Unai Emery. I love the bloke. And people talk about the sort of relationship between fans and the manager and stuff. And under Gerrard, it was never there. But with Emery, that lap around the pitch at the end, it was a special moment. And he gets it, doesn't he? He gets Villa.
Yeah, I love seeing the players with their families as well, because they probably all can't believe it from where we were at the start of the season to be doing that lap of honour and celebrating with the fans. We've got got Watkins patting the badge, Martinez.
What was he saying over the tannoy? Like, let's get Europe or something, or
let's Europe, let's go, or whatever it was. Ashley Young speaking as well. I mean, Ashley Young this season, God, he's got to get a new contract in my opinion. He's so good in the dressing room. He's almost. I tweeted this earlier. He's actually part of the fabric of the club now. He's done 6.5 seasons all in.
Yeah.
At Villa, he keeps standards high. Even under Gerrard, he was playing well as well. I don't think he was brilliant last season.
No, I thought that.
This season, he's been at a completely different level, and you've got to keep him around. I think he's earned it as well. I'm very big on people getting stuff when they've earned it. I think for what he's done for us this year, I think he's earned that new contract. He doesn't seem to know whether he's staying or not at the moment. Look, at the end of the day, whatever happens, you back Unai Emery, don't you? Because he's making all the football decisions now. But I just think someone that can play in a couple of different positions. There's not tons of experience in that squad. There's not tons of
young team.
There's certainly not a lot of players that have played in Europe.
Yes.
I think just having him around is a massive thing that we need to do.
Yeah, there's no signs of him slowing down, is there, at all? So for that reason, keep him around for me. Like, he's so versatile as well. Moreno being injured, he can cover left back. Matty Cash is the only real standout right back we've got. He can cover right back as well. So for that, the experience, like you said, important point. He's one of the only players who's played in Europe. I think it's a shoo-in for me to give him another 1 year. I don't see why not. And you're right. At the end of last season, I remember that Leicester away game where we drew 0-0. I was a little bit nervous watching him at left back. I was like, not very convincing. But this year, played a lot more football than probably a lot of us would have expected. And he's surprised a lot of people, and he's been brilliant. He's been consistent. Got to get another year.
He's still one of the fittest players at the club as well. 100%. When he come back, if they come back pre-season, he'll be top of the bleep test.
I remember, I remember after that Chelsea game, he had to get helped off the pitch, like he was knackered. But you just can't argue with anything Ashley Young does.
He's got to. He's going to go down in club folklore now. I never thought 10 years ago, whatever. Ashley Young, next time you get into Europe, Ashley Young's going to be playing right back for you.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Because he was such a good left winger for such a long time.
I love that.
It's going to be it's going to be a really interesting summer. There's not major surgery required. There's a couple of young players coming back from loan who'll find their way into the squad, I think, or Emery will certainly look at them at the start of pre-season. There'll be no more than 5 players coming, in my opinion. But the pleasing thing is, you look at what he's done with the players that are already there. There's probably still levels for the players that are there now to go. And then if you're bringing in 5 players who automatically improve the first team as well, you're suddenly in a really, really good place. And last summer was going to be this big summer and we were going to come back a different team, and we just didn't. But we don't need to come back a different team now. Yeah. But we just go back to earlier when I just felt we didn't have anything on the bench to change the game either way. Next season, having those options will be massive for us, especially with the extra games as well.
Yeah, I agree about we don't need major surgery. I think I look at players like Diogo Carlos, who I hate this cliche, but he's going to come and look like a new signing, etc. We don't know anything about him, really. We've watched 3 games of him. 2 of them under Gerrard. He came on against Wolves. We don't know anything about him, realistically. Players like Bardell, players like Bailey, who haven't hit the heights potentially that we would have expected this season.
Still here as well, isn't he?
Coutinho,
I don't think he'll go anywhere.
No, I mean, who's gonna sign him? He's on. Yeah, potentially. But again, players like that who you give a pre-season on top of the signings that we're going to bring in. Interesting to see, because Emery improves players, doesn't he? Take these players to another level. Be interesting to see Bailey, Buendia for me. I want to see what they can do next season.
I mean, I think in the next couple of weeks you are going to see some, not so much on the footballing side, but you're going to see there's going to be some big changes, I think, at Villa in the next couple of weeks that you'll see. But also, I think there'll be some contracts. Watkins is going to get a new contract, isn't he? We'll find out what's going on with Ashley Young. And if he doesn't get a new contract, you've probably then got a pretty good idea that a right back is coming in from somewhere. I think Unai Emery will probably get a new contract, in all honesty, and he's head coach at the moment, but he essentially is not head coach anymore. So a new contract and a job role change for Emery in the next couple of weeks.
Does that mean anything though? What's the benefit to doing that?
So if you're head coach, you're there to train the players. You work with the players day in, day out, but you don't really have a massive say on the transfer side of things because there's a director of football or sporting director or whatever dealing with that. Emery has got total control of Villa from the footballing side. The scouts that come in, to the people that work alongside him, the coaching staff, and the players that we bring in and sell. The person, there's other people that are involved, but the person driving all that and making the decision is Emery, and the people alongside him. It's him doing all that now.
Okay.
So he isn't a head coach. He just isn't. So he's going to become the manager of Aston Villa in the next few weeks. The new contract wouldn't surprise me one bit. I've heard murmurings about that. And
interesting.
You can't argue with it because
no.
If anyone deserves a new contract already, it's Unai Emery. Give him exactly what he wants.
Give him
the keys to the castle.
8-year contract. Alan Pardew signed at Newcastle. Was it something like that?
But this is the thing. I was listening to Emery talk after the game yesterday, and the bits I could hear, he's saying this is step one. This is the start. These are the words of a man who wants to make Aston Villa an elite club again.
I hate the word project as well, but he loves projects, doesn't he?
We've had so many false starts with projects and stuff like that. The Villa engine.
I don't.
What was that?
But he loves that challenge, doesn't he, of taking sort of a club that's on the cusp to that next level. We've seen him do it at so many clubs in Spain, sort of clubs that are on a similar sort of level to Villa, maybe just outside where they want to be. But he can do that. He can take them to that next level, and getting Villa into the Conference League is that first step. But
the big thing there is that you've said. So he's put Villarreal and Sevilla, where he's done really, really good thing. That bringing a European trophy to them that's a massive thing. It's not an easy thing to do. He's good at Valencia as well. Did well there. So, but those clubs, I think there's a ceiling at those clubs in terms of budget and money.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's very difficult. They're never really going to be consistently competing with Real Madrid and Barcelona. I'm not saying we're going to be up there challenging with Man City. That's not what I'm saying. But at a club like Villa, he's going to have the resources to take us a couple of levels above where we are now. I would not bet against in the next 5 years Villa getting top four. And I've always thought in my life, I'm never going to see this in the Champions League. It's just not something that's feasible, that's going to happen. But I genuinely do believe with this manager that it is feasible. Because if you look at our form across the second half of the season, me and you were just watching a bit of TV before we came on. We're fifth with the game in hand.
Yeah.
Since the season started when he came in.
It's not like he's had 6 weeks at Villa and he's had a new manager bounce. He's been here for the majority of the season. Like, this isn't a bounce. This is a manager who's got the structure at Villa. And you're right, we have got that structure to be able to take us to that next level.
I think we've always had the perfect owners. I've not always liked everything that's gone on around them. But I've always, the owners, we owe them so much. Yeah. They're brilliant owners. We were on the precipice of absolute disaster. Those two came in and rescued us. And you look at the difference between the Glazers taking money out of Manchester United and then the fact that our owners, all they do is pump their own money in.
Literally every week it seems like the owners have put another X amount into Villa.
We're so fortunate with those two. And they deserve their lap of honour walking around with Emery
that's nice.
yesterday, because they have been unbelievable owners for us. But I think they, in some way, and this isn't a bad thing, I think they've thought that we could maybe have accelerated a bit quicker in previous years than we have. I think maybe they thought we'd be qualifying for Europe maybe a year or two ago. That would have been ideal for them. Yeah. But as much as we loved Dean Smith, we didn't like Steven Gerrard, but we were never really going to do it under them. We've now got this manager in, and credit to Nassef, because I think he was a massive driver in getting Unai Emery in and working with Mendes and getting Emery through the door. But we have got the manager now. Aston Villa, realistically, in a realistic world, couldn't have a better manager. It just fits.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And when he first got announced, I was like, okay, this is okay. I like this.
Yeah.
But seeing it now and sort of learning a little bit more about the man, Unai Emery, learning a bit more about what he's done in the past and doing X amount of research on him, you're right, it fits, doesn't it? It's sort of like, it just goes so well, and it feels like we've got these foundations, and I've said it already, this is the first step. Like, we're not done here, we're going to keep on going. It feels like he's going to be here for a long time. So
I want 5-10 years of him, either.
Well, what did he say? He said a couple of weeks ago, saying he's only been here for like 10% of the time that he wants to be or whatever, so He wants to be here for a while. He wants to leave that legacy at Villa, doesn't he?
And we've got to stick with him as well. Even if we suffer a dip in form at any point, he's done enough in this first stint that you've got to just back him whatever happens.
I always talked about credit in the bank with Gerrard, and I think that's why it went a little bit south fairly fast, because he never got that. Emery's got it in abundance.
Never any credit in the bank.
No, exactly. Really, and Emery's already got it. So I think, undoubtedly, we're never going to win every game, whatever. There's going to be spells. We've seen it to an extent this season. The Man United Wolves couple of defeats, the Arsenal, Man City, Leicester sort of mini run. We're going to see that. Of course we are. That's football. But you're right. Credit in the bank. Stick with him. He's the man.
Because at times it might be difficult for us to cope with the demands of playing
in
the
of course.
Because we'll want to go far in the other 2 cups
yeah.
as well. So there will be a lot of games, and it's hard to manage that sometimes. But that's what Emery wants. He talks about I was in Europe for 15 years in a row.
It.
And he's made it 16. How was it? How has he done that? It's just not. It's not logical that he's managed to do it. But you look how much of a meal Tottenham are making of getting a new manager, and how by just making a few bad decisions,
Spiral.
You can fall away, and they're in a dangerous situation. Tottenham at the moment, even Chelsea have just made a good managerial appointment. They've spent a lot of money to get worse. We have got the right manager. We've got everything. Just feels right. Like I said, I do think there'll be some big changes in a couple of weeks in certain areas, but we've got in the owners and Emery. We've got that's a great combination.
It just feels right. It just feels right. Like in the past, we've always had doubts about not just the manager and the owners, certain like CEOs and everything, all a little bit off, but it just feels right at the moment. And you're right, yeah, changes will happen, inevitable, whatever, but it just feels right. It feels right, and we're in for a decent summer, I think. It's going to be an exciting one.
I can't wait. I mean, I'll be doing the Sky Sports News transfer shows again in the summer. That got confirmed the other day, and like last year, I think I was on, and we ever get to talk about Villa because we weren't really active. We weren't doing anything in either window by the time
we got stuff done early, didn't we?
Yeah, but I'm thinking this year I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be getting to talk about what Villa are doing in that Sky Sports News studio, and I just think it is going to be an exciting time. And the thing is, if we sign someone that you've never heard of, you're going to back it because you just know.
Never heard of him.
I'd not known much about Moreno. I did watch his YouTube compilation before we signed him, and to be fair, he did look brilliant. I was like, okay, great.
Roberto Carlos, what's going on?
But then even that signing, he shouldn't come in from La Liga, and it'd be that easy for him to be so good straight
quick.
away.
Yeah.
But he did just transform that left-hand flank for us. He was a big part of how we were able to play in a different way after January, and when we went on the good run, he was a big part of that. And if that's the kind of player that Unai Emery is identifying, just the way he sees football, I just wish I could see football like that.
Exciting.
Even half like it.
It's exciting. That Moreno signing is sort of like the first step, isn't it? Sort of someone for 12 million coming in from Real Betis, and it's not transforming the way Villa play, but it is such a difference, isn't it, with him? And that's the first signing, like, for such a bargain as well. Imagine when he can break our transfer record and get some real quality.
Do you think we will, Brad?
I think we will a couple of times. I think we
definitely will once. I'm not sure about because maybe you don't need to. Maybe Emery knows about these gems that are out there. I mean, I know Unai Emery has big plans, so the list that he will have will probably be maybe a little bit too ambitious for the players.
But that's what you want, though. That's what you want.
Do you think Conference League makes a massive difference to us in attracting players? Do you think it makes that much difference?
Yeah,
European football. Do you?
I think so. I think it will help because there'll be more game time available to players. We need to get a bigger squad, so there'll be more game time available. You're on that sort of European stage, aren't you? Obviously, ideally, you'd want to be in the Champions League, Europa League, more eyes on that. But Conference League is still a big competition. People want to watch it. People want to play in it. Travel, the experience, I think so. I don't see why not.
We're a really attractive club now. I think that's a big thing, a good thing to end on now. We are a really attractive, prospective club for players. You look at the training grounds, really, really good. The stadium's always just been a touch of class.
It's only getting better as well.
You've got the manager there. You've seen the improve. If you're a footballer and you've seen the way people like McGinn and Mings, Conser, Irving Watkins have improved.
You want to be involved in that?
You've got a World Cup winning goalkeeper who's gone to Villa. And then he's gone on to get into his country's team and win the World Cup. We're suddenly one of the more attractive sides probably in the Premier League, and maybe even to a certain extent, Europe. Now, if you want to come apply your trade in the Premier League, and you're looking for, if you're a footballer, you want to come to something that's stable and sustainable. It was Newcastle, probably Man City, Liverpool to an extent, even though they've not had a great season. Villa.
I think it's annoying with Newcastle because I think we're probably going to be shopping in a similar sort of market. So that's a little bit annoying for me, the whole Newcastle thing, but you're right.
I don't know, because they've got Champions League now. That's going to open up a different market.
Yeah, 100%. They are.
We won't be able to attract some of the players that they'll be able to attract.
No, I'm not saying, I think they are a level ahead of us and they are more attractive to us. But yeah, you're right. We're definitely up there, aren't we, in the top sort of 5 or 6 teams in the Premier League that you look at and think, I want to be involved in that.
So as a footballer, I'm looking at Chelsea and Tottenham, for example, and thinking,
stay away from that.
I ain't going there.
No way.
Absolutely no chance. Well, it's like if people say that with Martinez would leave, why would he go to Chelsea or Tottenham? They're basket cases, they're not, and they're not in Europe.
Yeah.
He's a big one. I think he will stay. I think he will stay. Everything he says points towards the fact that he's staying. But he's like a massive figurehead at Villa. Like he's a worldwide player.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, who knows? I mean, he might be able to persuade Messi to come.
Oh, Jesus.
Can you imagine?
I'm not sure about that.
Can you imagine though?
I mean, think of the shirt sales. I think that would appeal to one or two, wouldn't it?
The shirt sales alone, but no, I don't think for 1 second
pay for himself
that Messi's going to come. But he says that like I'm talking to players in the squad in the Argentina
Dybala
squad
as well.
I'm excited for this summer. We've probably got some early business. This is how we act.
It's what Villa do.
There's probably in the next couple of weeks we'll be doing videos talking about.
Kamara signed the day after that Man City game last season, didn't he?
Yeah.
So there's already probably stuff going on.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. So we'll leave it there. It wasn't really a post-match point.
It was a bit.
In the end, in fairness, but enjoy talking. You go over to Villa on tour as well because we've done one of Max's podcasts as well. Actually, I'll say it's a bit longer. This one's ended up being quite long in the end, but we've covered different things. Across the two shows. So go and check that out. And this will probably, I know I was going to say it's going to be the last video for a bit, but it's not because I'm doing 1874 with Greg in the morning. But thanks for all the support this season. Nice to actually do a pod. Sat next to someone as well. And there's Turbo's just waking up now from his slumber. He's excited for the transfer window as well. But give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Comment below as well, and subscribe to the channel with your post notifications on. Thank you very much to Purity. Thanks to Max for coming round and doing the video today, and thanks for Turbo for being the best dog in the world. Up the Villa.